All right, the guys are finally digging the trenches to bury the new electric line in my backyard. We've been waiting for a while. The temporary line has been running here for 3 weeks about. So they're trenching. I thought they were going to bring in a backhoe or something like that, but they said no. Usually in these yards, it's better, safer to trench with shovels because there's, you know, all kinds of buried lines everywhere, and if they start getting into a sprinkler line or a sewer line, they can feel it. You know, they hit the shovel hard on something instead of just chopping right through it. So, yeah. Okay, well, while the guys are tearing up my backyard, putting in my electrical, I figure I've got to be here babysitting that, so I might as well keep myself busy during that process. So, it officially begins, the Silverwing restoration project. I'm going to pull the wheels off of it today, take those over there to Cycle Gear, and have them mount up the fresh City Grip 2s that I have waiting over there for me for the last week. So, yeah, pull the wheels off this, leave it on stands for a little bit, and then get the wheels back on it, you know, later tonight, tomorrow, whatever, and I'll start pulling the plastics off. The nose has got to come off the thing. I got to pull all the rear Tupperware off, so pretty much all the plastics are coming out. And I'll get in and do the valve maintenance, and so it begins. Shop manual, new battery, computer ready to go. All right, everybody, I'm going to start with, what am I going to do? Let's do the rear wheel first, because the rear wheel is going to be a little bit more involved. I got to pull the exhaust. I'm going to get reacclimated to this bike. I haven't worked on it in so long. I got to pull the exhaust off of there and get the rear swing arm carrier and all that kind of stuff out so I can pull the rear wheel. So bear with me while I get set up here and we'll get started. Gotta remember what size my bolts are. I think it's 10s down here. Yeah. Exhaust. I just need, I don't have to pull the exhaust from the motor, I just have to pull from here. So yeah, I've got two 10s that are pinch bolts right there. I've got, looks like about a 26 or 28 millimeter axle nut. Got some 12s and 5 for the swing arm carrier. Yeah, a bunch of stuff has to come off. You got to pull all this off to get the wheel out of there. So scooters are always a little bit of a pain in the butt because you got to remove the exhaust and everything, but yeah, let me get those. Start wrenching. Pull these apart. Let's get the exhaust pulled loose first. It's going to be 10s down there and a 12 up here. Looks like a 12. I haven't done this in a number of years, so I'm a little rusty on remembering what's what. 12. And yep, there's a nut on the back of that, so there's another 12. We need an open end wrench for that. Yeah, can you reach it? Oh. Stay. Stay. Yeah, that's a 12. Let me get an open end wrench for that side of it. And away we go. Let the project begin. Good. One of these days, I'll get a lift. One of these days. Not yet. Not ready yet. Still need my exercise. The only exercise I get these days. I try to walk, do a little bit of biking, but have a lot of free time to go biking like I would prefer to do. So, it's just garage isometrics. Okay, that should be sufficiently loose. Let me pull the top. It's just that guy. Just before I stopped riding this thing all the time, which has been a handful of years ago, 6+ years ago, I just got this new beauty cover on the outside. I mean, literally just got it. I put it on the bike, and I rode home from my office that was in the Galleria area up to Cypress, and some yahoo in a Corvette decided to try to run me over from a double left turn lane. He was in the insidemost lane, I was in the outside, and we're like 3 or 4 cars deep, and everybody's going and, you know, minding their business. And this guy came flying up next to me at 45 miles an hour and cut me off, and tried to go straight, you know, do a double lane change across the intersection. Dick. And I saw him coming, and I straightened it up, and I hit the brakes, and right as he tapped the back end of the bike, I just stepped off of it and fell over and destroyed this brand new, or didn't destroy it, but it took all the chrome off of this brand new cover. I mean, this thing was like an hour old. I was so pissed off. Scratched up my fairing up in the corner, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, dude, I didn't see you." Oh, my ass. Give me a break. I took his insurance information and all that, and he's like, "Yeah, I ride too." No, you don't, you asshole. If you did, you wouldn't have run over another biker. You're just an aggressive cager prick. I'll have to strike that out. That'll be part of the raw video. Anyway, so many aggressive shysters here in the Houston area. He just thought that he was going to cut the line, didn't want to wait, do a double lane change diagonally across an intersection, and hit a biker. What a tool! So I filed a claim on his insurance, and he called me several times, like, "Hey dude, I'm just checking in on you. Are you okay?" I'm not your buddy. You're a tool. I'm not going to interact with you in any shape or form. Get out. Okay, so now, as far as I remember, this exhaust just pivots and slides right off of the little graphite gasket down here, if I don't ruin that. And this is a heavy exhaust, man. This thing's probably 20 pounds. I'll put it on a scale later, but it's a good 18 plus pounds. She ain't light. I might get a different can for this one day. I never did decide if I wanted to upgrade it. I do have performance intake, and you know, K&N filter, and I've got a what is it? A Dynojet PowerVision 3 under the seat. I'll show you later. I went in and made my own map, custom tuned it. I put a wideband O2 wand down the can here, so it's post cap, but at least it let me see a little bit of what my air fuel ratios were, and I put a throttle pump feature in there where it gives it an extra squirt right on the throttle action, and richened up the mix a tiny bit, and it gave me more power, and somehow I managed to get more fuel economy out of it. You wouldn't think that would be possible by adding fuel, but I guess cleaner intake. So anyway, next, I need to go get a 5. This is another 12. I need to take my rear shock loose. That's a 14 actually. The shocks are looking a little bit rusty. I need a 14. I need, ooh, it looks like I need a new exhaust hanger grommet. That's split. What else? What else? A big monkey. I'm gonna go find out what that is. Okay, I'm back with a 14. There's a handful of other stuff that's got to be removed off of this compared to other scooters, because this has got a rear disc brake. This is not an ABS model, but it does have a rear disc. You got to remove the rear caliper. You got to remove the parking brake assembly from this right swing arm support, whatever you want to call it. They call it a swing arm, but it's more of a support because you get more load carrying capacity from the drive housing side on the other side. This is just more of an axle and bearing support on this side. Anyway, when I removed this little cover right here, as I recall, there's a couple of Torx bolts behind this. It's been a while. There's a couple of Torx right here. So anyway, I'm gonna pull all this apart. I'm trying to do it from memory until I get to the point where I need the manual. But this was a 27, so I was pretty close. It was like a 28 or something like that. Anywho, let's get going. Get the rear shock broken loose. See all the other pieces that I've got to remove out of here. And I need to support that rear wheel with a chunk of wood under it before I get that shock bolt all the way out. Where's my wood? I ain't got no wood, man. There's a pill for that. That should be sufficient. Yep. Kick that in there with open-toed sandals. That'll be fun. In them out. peel the toenail back and really not liking my life. Doink, 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 doink. Stay. I used to have a little wedge that was just the right size for that, but I do not know where that is. It's not here right now. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, rear shock is free. I got a little tin there. Start dismantling. It's been a while since I've had this thing apart. I've put 4 rear tires on this. This will be the 5th since I have it. I haven't been getting that great a mileage out of these tires. This is a heavy scoot that's got a lot of torque. I mean, it's a, what is it? Just a little over 50 horsepower, 52, 55 horsepower, something like that. But with the CVT, it puts a lot of torque down to that back end. I want to say 35 or 40 pound-feet of torque. That's a lot. And it flats these tires out, you know, it squares them off pretty good. Oop, 12. So yeah, they don't last all that long. Maybe these city grips will last longer. What I've run on this thing for most of its life since I got it were the Pirelli Diablos, and they worked great, but Pirelli doesn't make those tires anymore for this scoot. And I decided I would try these city grips on here because they've now got fitments in that size. Probably would have tried them sooner, but I don't think I used to carry them in that size. Let's see. I don't. No, I just need this one. Crack them all loose, get everything loose and ready to go. And then I'll remember what else I needed to do after it's already done. Okay, so that'll pull my rear caliper loose. This is the brake line, hard line. I should have another hard line, yep, over here. The ABS bike would also have an ABS sensor ring here, and I believe the sensor is right back here by the brake caliper, or it's near the parking brake, but I'm going to make sure you pay mind to that so you don't damage that wire, otherwise you're screwed. Getting parts for these bikes isn't impossible as far as driveline components and all that that's still available, but if you break plastics, you're screwed. Good luck getting plastics, especially like the fairing. The front nose of it is all one piece. The last time I was able to find a fairing was out of the UK somewhere. It was a new old stock from one of the dealers, and they wanted like $900 for the front clip, you know, the whole front fairing. I couldn't believe it. You can't get them anymore. They're out of production, so yeah, good luck. Don't break them. That's why I'm not like, I'm dreading the idea of pulling the fairing off of this thing, because I know that I'm going to break more tabs. I've already broken 2 or 3 tabs on there. There's a ton of tabs, probably a dozen or more, that kind of interlock with other panels, and once they're broke, they're broke. Okay, parking brake out of the way. Off you go. I have new brake pads that I'll put in here when I get done. We got this big guy. What is that, a 1/2 inch? Yeah, she's a 1/2 inch. I'm just going to go straight to the Milwaukee condenser. This is the, I want you off now, I'm not asking. This is not a discussion. This is the, I'm not messing around. I want to get done with this project tool. This thing takes off just about anything I've thrown at it. It's the Milwaukee Fuel brushless, what is this, the M18 1/2 inch impact wrench. Oh man, I was trying to get the rear wheel off the Ducati forever, and it's got that single hub design, and it was just seized on there. I was putting 250 plus pound-feet of torque on it, could not break it loose, it wouldn't come loose. So I went and spent a couple $100 on this thing, came home, put it on there, and I mean literally the hammer hit on it like twice. It just went, spun it right off. Money well spent. And since then, I've used it for many more similar tasks. Because it just doesn't ask, it just goes. Obey me! Get out! Alright, that's loosened up, that's loosened up. Rear brake is time to come off. Oh, I thought I got it loose. I didn't get it all the way loose. I thought I got you loose. I'll drop you out of there. Okay, that one's loose. Now I can get the rest. Luckily, all these bolts are pretty identifiable. You can't put them in the wrong place. When in doubt, make a little cardboard sheet or something like that. Just an empty cardboard box, and stab the bolts through in, you know, equivalent positions of what this looks like, and mark what they are if you're concerned about it. But as I take them out, I always compare to the previous ones that I've just pulled out. As long as they're identical length, then I don't worry about it. It's when you've got variable lengths everywhere, that's when things get a little dicey. Okay, so caliper, she is pretty much ready. I broke this one loose in case I need to slide the pins apart, but I think we're good to just slide her off now if I get everything released. Did I miss one? I think I'm just stuck on the rotor itself. Pads are squeezed in against the rotor and then it's going to come out. Don't make me take the backer off. Come on! Don't make me take the pin out. Yeah, it's going to make me take it apart. They're not spread apart far enough to behave. Dirt! Squeeze, man. Squeeze them pads. Squeeze them pads. Thank you. There we go. Now she's happy. See, all that is the caliper pin. And let my brakes fly free, but that's okay because I'm putting new brakes on it anyway. We'll sort that later. I just want to get it out of my way for the moment. This is clear, so I'll be able to pull that up out of the way of the wheel in a few moments. Axle nut is ready. There is a tapered collar in here that you don't want to lose, and when you put it back, it's got to be facing the right way. I got 5 mil here. Let me break that loose. All this is a little beauty cover. Plastic. Okay, and then there's a 14. Couple of 14, so I don't even need the Torxes, I don't think. I gotta just take that out. I can't remember. It's been so long. I can't remember. Give it. I might need impact gun for this. As I recall, these things get a little tight over time. Oh, yeah, she's tight. Oh, she's tight. Trying to not hurt myself on that exhaust there. Oh, she's on there. Impact gun. And no, before some very observant, astute watcher of the video chastises me, no, these are not impact rated sockets or adapters. But I'm not getting into that high torque, so I don't really care. And if I split a socket, I split a socket. Whatever. I want it done. It's hot out here. Did I mention it's hot? God, it's 102 or something like that. Woo! It's hot. I said get loose. I ain't asking. Right now. Okay. So, she's free. Yep, she wiggles. I don't think I need to take anything else off. That's only if you're getting into the drive side of this. The Silverwing is an interesting animal as far as scooters go. The rear drive line on it is not 100% traditional scooter. I don't know if you can see it from your camera angle, but the motor is fixed in the chassis, and then it has this rear swing arm portion that attaches to the right side of the motor housing. This part pivots. So that differs from traditional quote-unquote proper scooter transmissions, where the engine and driveline unit are one piece, and they do this together. The engine is fixed in the Silverwing, and it has just a rear swing arm portion, and then the drive housing over there where the belt and CVT is pivots just like this. So the engine is fixed mounted in the frame. A little different. The T-Max, the Yamaha T-Max, does the same thing. I can't remember if the Suzuki Bergmans do or not. I think the Bergmans might do it as well. I had two of them, but I just can't recall off the top of my head if that was a split unit like this. Smaller scooters, you know, PCX and all those, the engine and drive housing is all one piece, and the whole thing pivots up and down. So it makes the handling a little bit less motorcycle-ish, you know, because you got a lot more sprung weight back there on the back. You're moving the entire engine up and down instead of just the wheel and drive assembly. Yeah, thank you. Don't want to lose those. These are different. They've got washers. Okay. And yes, I talk to myself as I'm doing these on video, so if I forget something or screw something up, I go back and look at the video. Oh yeah, that's where that goes. There is method to the madness. One more 10mm right here on the top for the brake line. So when I get done with this project and ride it to Scoot the Ozarks, hopefully, for the annual meetup, I will probably pull this thing back apart, at least partially, because I want to send all these lines off to Spiegler and have Spiegler build me some custom braided lines for this bike. They don't have them in their catalog, at least I couldn't find any in their catalog. So I think they can make anything, they just have to have either the original lines or the bike to pattern it off of. So I don't remember where they are. I think they're Florida. I can't remember where they are. Wouldn't mind just riding the Scoot to them and give them my Scoot as a test mule.
Tasty.
But if I can't take the Scoot to them, then I will at least send them the lines with pictures. Collar has to go in there in the right way, don't forget. Send them pictures with how everything is, that way they can reproduce all the little bits of it. So, okay, now I've got to pull my block, my support block out of there to get the rear wheel off. Of course, my exhaust and all this stuff is in the way now, as are my legs and everything else. Yeah, I gotta get this out of there. And it's heavy, by the way, when you do that. When this wheel comes out of there, it ain't light on these Silverwings. It's a fairly substantial unit. 25 pounds or so. Okay, so there's the rear wheel off. If you have to do this on the side of the road, it's not a good day, trust me. Ask me how I know. That's why I run ride-on tire sealant in all my tires, to try to keep me on the road and not having to do this kind of stuff on the side of the road, because that's not a simple procedure. You gotta have a lot of tools with you to do it. Okay, so rear wheel's off. I will clean up my drive shaft, axle shaft there. I'm gonna check all my bearings, make sure everything looks happy. It's all old and dirty in there, but I'll clean it up later when it gets outside. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to get my front wheel supported on the fork stands and pull the front wheel, take both wheels over to Cycle Gear and have them replace this. We'll see. Okay, so the front wheel is more of the same. I've got I think it's a 19, might be a 21 or 22 millimeter axle nut. It's a two-piece axle, so you got a screwdriver slot in an open end of the other side of it over there. You got to hold it with some kind of a rod to keep it from rotating. A couple of bolts for the brake caliper, and that's it. The real trick is I don't have a suitable wheel stand for this thing, and it doesn't really like my fancy pit bull stand, when I try to line this thing up, it just rolls past it and it doesn't quite do what I want it to do. It's too wide, which is a strange situation. I'm going to see if it kinda, sorta, I don't want it to roll back because it doesn't have a rear wheel on it right now. This is getting dicey. I don't even know if you're on camera. Yeah, you're on camera. Yeah, so she's a little precarious. I don't want to hear any safety warriors out there bitching. You do this to your own bike, that's fine. Don't chastise me on how I work on mine. As long as I'm not under it when it falls, I don't care. Okay, so we got these guys. I'm going to probably pull it back down to spin the axle, but I'll crack these guys loose. There's an 8mm pinch bolt under here, and when I had taken this thing to a couple of shops in the past, Honda of Houston, actually, I had them put new front tire on it for me because I was busy. I just didn't have time to do it myself. And I went to ride it home, like 3 miles home, and I noticed the front end was just all wishy-washy. They didn't even tighten up my axle bolt, and the pinch bolt was literally dangling by one thread. It was just about to fall out when I got home. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, all right, I'm never going back to those guys. I buy motorcycles off of them, but their service techs are boneheads. That's dangerous, man. That'll kill you. That'll kill you dead. Oh, and my brake caliper was loose too. They didn't tighten anything up because when I would hit the brake, I could hear, you know, clunking. And I was like, oh, geez, this thing's not right. Jesus, man. Yeah, it's a come to Jesus moment when you realize you've been going 60 miles an hour with a loose front wheel and a loose caliper. All right, it's the 12s. I'm not even going to do the brake line holder. I'll just let it suspend. This has got combined braking, so it's got 2 brake lines up here. Yeah, that's fine. Now I really just need that big guy right there. I already had the socket sitting here in front of me. So I couldn't find my metric that fit it, so I'm using a 7/8 SAE. It fits just perfect. I mean, just as good as a metric would. So, pull the extension off of there. Whoop, wrong side. And I've got to do this with both hands here and not kick the lever. Kick that, your bike falls over. Ask me how I know. But hey, the first time I did something stupid. Now I got to reach over here and hold the axle on the other side when it starts to spin. There we go. Thing's heavy. Okay, so now I can spin my axle. Yep, she's free. Okay, I'll pull this thing out of here. I need to fix my scuff. That was a shop broom at my warehouse that fell over and scuffed my fender. So hopefully I can buff that out with one of those magic erasers or something. And now the axle itself should be free. And I can just wiggle it and pull it from this side. I'll try to show you in a minute. I'll bring the camera over here and show you what's going on. Right after I remove my brake caliper. Let's get this off of there. Hey. Said it once, I'll say it again. No, I'm not a mechanic, but I pretend to be one when I'm working on my own machine. Okay, those are out of there. Brake should go free. She's kind of seized. I need to rebuild my calipers and my master cylinders because, man, they are tight on the disc. They do not want to let go. They're stopping okay when I squeeze the brakes, but man, these things don't want to release. They're dragging a bit. I noticed when I had the wheels up in the air, I was trying to spin the wheels and they go and they just stop instantly. As soon as you let go of the spin, they just start. So calipers are dragging a bit. I might be able to just open them up a bit. I've pulled the pistons out of the cups before and polish them up with semi-chrome or blue magic or whatever that stuff is, and just get them, get the chrome really shiny and slippery again, and they work fine. As long as they're not leaking, I don't care. I just don't want them seized or leaking. Anyway, okay. Now the wheel can come out. Fall right on my feet as I hold it, hopefully. Yes, I use my feet for this. I really hope it doesn't come off of the stand because it's going to impale my foot and won't be a good dip. Support it with the foot and drag the axle out to the other side. There she goes. And there are a couple of spacers. The one on the brake disc side is thinner than the one on the other side. I feel you. Come on out. I feel you. She's ready. There it goes. And I should be able to just angle out past the fender if I get it at angle. So it's not my first rodeo. There it goes. Okay. The wheel, she is free. So when you take these to a shop, make sure you take out your collars, your spacers. In the case of a motorcycle, you pull your cush drive and sprocket assembly, sprocket carrier out of your rear wheel because they might get lost. Ask me how I know. And then you go back to the shop and they're like, we don't know. We got a couple of spare parts back here, and they bring you a handful of parts and you're like, does that look like yours? No, that's not mine. How about this one? No, that's not mine. I had to buy a couple. I had to buy a whole sprocket carrier one time. That pissed me off. That's not cheap, man. With the cush drive and the sprocket carrier, you're looking at 150, 200 bucks. The shop didn't even want to pay for it. I'm like, well, we can't find it. You didn't bring it in. Yeah, I brought it in. It was with the wheel, David. Okay, so the Silverwing's wheels are off, and they're headed over to Cycle Gear to get some new shoes. I got the Michelin City Grip 2s waiting on me there. The ones that I've been running forever are the Pirelli Diablo scooter tires in a 120/80/14 for the front and a 150/70/13 for the rear. But unfortunately, these don't exist anymore. Pirelli stopped making those a couple years back, and I actually do have one sitting out here on the patio. I've got a brand new one right here that was in my attic, and I pulled it down thinking, hey, I'll just reskin the rear. But I got to looking at the date codes on these. I'll take you back in there with the other stuff. Started looking at how old this is. It had been up here hiding in my tire stash in my attic for the last, 8 years plus. So here we are. Pirelli Diablo scooter. Exact same one as that. I bought one when they were on clearance, and I didn't realize that clearance was end of life. Meaning no more to be had. So here's the brand new tire. I'm looking for the date code. Date code is that the one? They only printed on one side. Yeah. 13th week of 17 or 17th week of 13. I can't remember how that works on the date codes, but at any rate, it's minimum 7 years old, so I'm not putting it on there. It's not worth the risk. It still feels reasonably supple, but it's been baking in my 130 degree attic temperature up there forever, so I'm not going to bother. I've got the Michelin City Grips that are going on there, so there's that. Okay, so I got the wheels out here. I'm going to load them up in the back of the Mazda. Put my carpet condom down here. Big industrial trash bag. One of those heavy contractor bags. Protects the carpet from all the grease and the grime that's on these wheels. Not like this carpet or this car needs the gentle treatment. This thing's a beater. We're gonna keep beating it. All right, we have arrived. Cycle Gear, here we come. Get out of there. One. Cycle Gear. Need my second hand to carry this other one in, so I'm not gonna do the traditional walk-in with you guys because I don't have my GoPro and a chest rig, so I'll see you at the counter.
And it's for your benefit, because what happens is those get damaged, is what's been used to happen in the past. Yeah.
Okay, so it's your personal verbal policy, not a company policy.
No, it's a company.
It's a company policy.
My directions from the company is that we don't do.
Your direction from the company.
It says it on the website. It says to bring them in clean and all this other kind of stuff, which we don't care about.
Can you point me to where that is? Because I'm more than just a little bit annoyed. So. Yeah, the reason I buy the tires from you guys is so I can have a mountain balance and get the road hazard. But then now you're telling me you don't do it after I brought literally hundreds of my wheels and tires to you guys. So that's not good customer service at all. I wouldn't have bought the tires from from here if I couldn't do that. So, yeah, I buy it from Tire Rack and save myself 20%.
tires and rims 15 inches and up to 21 inches. Anything smaller or lower cannot be mounted due to the tire machine.
Okay. Okay, so I don't know how much of that I just got on camera, but Cycle Gear now refuses to mount or balance or do anything on any wheels smaller than sport bike wheels, essentially. They're telling me that anything 15 inches or smaller they don't do anything on. So that means they only work on 16 and up because of their tire machines, and it's quote unquote too much of a pain in the ass. Well, that's why we pay people with tire mounting machines to do these, so we don't have the pain in the ass. That's the labor. You pay for somebody to do the labor. I'm not happy, and Cycle Gear just lost a customer. I'm not going to buy any more tires from these people. Probably won't buy anything from here anymore. That's absolutely piss poor customer service. After bringing hundreds of tires here, they've now lost my business. All right, let's try again. I'm over here at Wild West. These guys will do anything for a buck. In a good way. I'm not saying that derogatorily. I'm going to see if they can mount these for me, because I don't want to sit there and pry on it and dick with it, bust up my knuckles and all that. I would much rather pay the convenience factor of just getting it done. Pardon the shaky camera here. I'm carrying tires in one hand and the phone in the other. It's too much of a pain in the ass. Exactly. That's what you get paid for. The boys. All right, everybody. So I'm annoyed at Cycle Gear right now. I had to come over here to Wild West, but I'm glad I did, because they've got some new toys here that I want to show you. And I'm outside on the front of the shop right now, where they've got all their used bikes, and they've got a few tasty toys up here. They've got a green Navi for $17.99. It's got 2,000 miles on it. Man, they got more miles on that than I do on mine. They've got a 22 ADV 150 for $34.99, only 284 miles. This is a brand new bike. That's almost an impulse buy. I don't have 3,000 burning a hole in my pocket, but that's close to impulse buy. They got all kinds of toys out here for decent prices, and a 21 R9T for $9K. That's tasty. But I'm going to show you the really fun stuff inside in just a second, and I'm very pleased to see the new addition to their lineup here that I did not know about, and you may have just caught it on the sign if you were an astute observer, if I can spit it out. If you're an astute observer, no, it's not on the sign. But they're going to be getting some signage for outside, and you'll see what I'm talking about in just a moment. But let's continue looking at a few of the toys here. Z650, that's not a bad price. RC300, $44.99. That's not a great price for a 6-year-old bike. What else do they have? Do they still have that one really nice NC750X? I'll bet that thing's gone by now. Or is this it? Is this? No, this is the older one. Yeah, I want that newer one. The newer one is tasty. I like it. That was many months ago, so I'm sure they've sold it by now. But what do they have here? $21.99 for a 19 Goldwing, 396 miles. My God, it's a brand new bike. Somebody bought it and decided they weren't going to ride it. That's really nice, guys. Oh my God, it's beautiful. Black. That's the Tour DCT. Oh, she's pretty. She's pretty. Okay, so enough sandbagging. Let's go inside and see the new addition to their lineup and walk through the showroom. And oh boy, do they have some fun toys in there. And maneuver through the bikes here without bashing my shins. Here we go. All right, toys everywhere. Lots of toys. We'll go down the dirt bike line later. What I want to focus on is this side. There's some new toys over here that are looking awful spicy. Oh man, look at this XSR. I love this. I don't think I would get it, but I like it. It looks really good. But this isn't what I wanted to show you. I'm getting there. I'm slowly getting there. And if you are a keen observer, you're going to see a couple of names in here that have not been on this floor before, and there's one of the names right there. Wild West is now an Aprilia Vespa family dealer. All the family that's in that. So that means they have Vespa. They've got a whole bunch of tasty Vespas here now. They got the Mickey Mouse. They've got all kinds of special color scheme bikes. We'll look at the tags a little later. But this one really interests me. The Liberty 150 for $32.49. The Liberty S, sorry. This is the bike that I was thinking about taking on Cannonball last year, and I might, just might, Cannonball this for $25. I know Neil is already chopping up my PCX 150 in anticipation of me riding that, and I probably will, but this is a close contender right here. I think we had several other riders on these bikes in 23, and they did really well. They're a little short on fuel range, but we can solve that problem. So anyway, we'll walk on further down the line. They got a lot of tasty KTMs. Here's a brand new Zuma. I'm riding a blue one of these right now from Neil. Cool orange wheels though. We've got a lot of manager specials on the floor. I will call those out as I find them. There's one really good one on the other side. This one is a 23 KLR 650, brand new S. This is the short for $49.99. So the short seat height, $5,000. Very nice. That's also very tempting. I would probably impulse buy that quicker than I would the ADV 150 outside. They've got a lot of the Aprilias here, including the RS 660 that I never got and lost all my money with that other dealer. Never did get that thing through small claims court, whatever. Lost all my money, $4,000 on that. But here's the RS 660 in black. I wanted the one that was that purplish blue color, and that's what I was waiting on, and I kept waiting and never got it. And they changed hands, changed names, and lost my money. Let's go around the other side. We got more KLRs over there, but I will show you this manager special. Another one, 23 KLR, $49.99, brand new. So we got a $49.99 KLR standard and the S short over there, $49.99. Anybody that wants a KLR for $5,000, that's a great deal. We've got Moto Guzzi in the house now. They're selling Moto Guzzi. They've got 3 or 4 different models of Guzzis, and this is really, really tasty. I like this. Haven't sat on it yet. I'm in my sandals today, so not ideal wannabe riding wear. But they got the V7 Stone here for $91.90. That's really, really good looking. What else do we have? Let's roll through the scooter aisle, and the Honda's back here. I will show you another one I'm looking at. Here's the new ADV 160. I don't know if I would do that or the 150 outside. I'm not 100% sold on the new 4-valve engines. They're not as efficient, but $44.99 for a brand new ADV 160. I do like the narrower seat and the revised leg well here. It's easier to get to the ground on this, but you know, that's only applicable for short people like me. Here's all the new Hondas. They got the new Metropolitans. They have a blue Navi. They've got another really good looking, it was like a metallic gray Navi over there. We'll look at that in just a moment. But they've got the new 24 and 25 Groms. I think this one's a 25. Yes, this is a new 25 Grom, $35.99. So Honda did away with the bolt-on panel appearance that they had in the previous gen. This is a little smoother looking. I gotta say, I kind of like this. In fact, this white is really good looking. That might find a new home. Everyone's always asked me why I've never owned a Grom, because I've got all the other mini motos. I like this. I like that a lot. That might end up going home with me. I like the upside down forks, and it's just a good look. So this is the other one that I was very seriously considering before I got my Hunter 350, and they've now got it here on the showroom in this pearl yellow. I don't know if my camera is going to pick it up. No, probably not. It's a metal flake gold cadmium yellow. It's really good looking. This is the CB300. 24 CB300R 5149 MSRP. Nice. And the one that I've been waiting to see in person, I'm glad I came by here today. Here's the new NX500 in black, the only color we get. So I like it. Again, I'm not in the right shoe attire to go playing around on this thing. I might jump on top of it in a minute and try to get my stubby little legs down to the ground, but without proper shoes on, not a great idea. I like it. It's got the big TFT dash. You know, you guys have probably seen plenty of the videos online about all the features. Of course, we can't light it up and look at that display, but I like that new TFT dash and the dual front discs and all that. So we've got a 24 NX500, $73.99. It's getting a little spendy for a 500, but I think if I were to upgrade my 500, it would be a very close toss-up between this and the NC750X. I would probably go the NC750X just for the extra torque and the little bit lower, more relaxed motor character, but only in the DCT. I don't think I would want that slow spinning motor that the NC750 has in a standard, not in a manual. Got the dual front discs, upside down forks. I like this. I really like this. That is a long throw looking, ain't it? Not really a fan of the beak, the nose. Hey, we got thunder. And I got all my stuff outside at home. I thought I was just going to be doing a quick drop off of my wheels over at Cycle Gear, and they threw me a curveball and pissed me off and lost a customer. Here is a very nice looking PCX 160. I like that anthracite gray. What do we got? 23 PCX 150, 4149. Yeah, okay, so we hit the end of the line. This video is going real long. I'll probably chop it up. But, yeah. And then, of course, I can't just blindly walk by the Rebel Tourer here. It's nice looking. I'm not really a fan of the bags. That's why I've never really done much or said much about the Tourer. I don't really like the bagger appearance to this. If I were to do something like that, I would get a Victory or a Harley or something else. I prefer the clean bobber looking back end of the standard Rebel 1100. Put the soft bags on it, whatever, but this I'm not really a fan of that. I don't know why. Now the bat wing on the front of it does look pretty good. That's subtle. It's not overdone. It's a little wide and kind of Harley-esque by my opinion, but yeah, that's that. All right, it's raining. I'm gonna call my son and tell him to put some of the perishable items in the garage. What do we have over here? We'll look at BMW in a minute. Here's the Navi that I was talking about in gray. It's a kind of a metallic gray, gunmetal gray color. Looks pretty good. A little drab, but it's interesting. And again, that's a 24. They've raised the price by a few bucks. So instead of $18.77, it's now $20.99. And I don't know if that includes any changes other than just a price increase or if that includes freight. Not sure. Anywho, we got the Zero line. We got lots of KTMs and CRFs and a few Yammies and Cowies. But Wild West sells everything, all brands pretty much. They are a full service shop. Gotta love it. Ooh. KLX 230R for $39.99. That's a good deal. That's a fun little tear it up bike without being a high strung two stroke. Anywho, I'm gonna shut this down, check on my wheels and tires, and get on out of here right after I look at this KLX 230S ABS for $42.99. That's about my seat height. All right, they're all mounted up. Got fresh rubber on those wheels. They're balanced. Got me new valve stems and the whole shooting match. The valve stems on the other side. I'm not going to spin it. Anyway, cost me $100 and change. They charge $50 a wheel or $55 a wheel, something like that. I don't care. It's done. I'm happy. There's my balance weights. Yeah, so I would much rather them do it on their machine. And they said they can handle all the way down to 10-inch wheels or something like that, and they don't care. So, yeah, the laziness factor over there at Cycle Gear is a little disappointing. Anyway, back home I go. All right, so I got home just in time for the guys to cut off the power. Is that my dog? I swear I just saw a dog walk by that truck. No, it's a cat in the other yard. Anywho, they've got all this line stretched out all over the driveway. It's a really, really long line. I didn't realize we had that much to run, but I know it's 150 something odd feet. So anyway, they just cut the power in the house, and I hear them drilling and banging on the side of the house out here. Yep, sure enough, there it is. So they're in the panel. They got to come up through the bottom of the meter.
For tourist attraction. He's not even Japanese.
Oh wow, check that out. That's a deep hole.
Yeah.
All right, bringing it into the bottom of the meter, bypassing that temporary line that Centerpoint dragged in. Pretty cool. All right, so the crew is done at my house. The reconnect power on surge killed my internet modem, my fiber modem, but these guys did a good job. They filled in the hole. They trenched. Oh, trying to get it on camera. Need to zoom back. There we go. They trenched all through the yard, and they were so nice. They even buried that orange Comcast line. They didn't need to do that. That was mighty nice of them. I just mentioned it to him, said, we're not using it right now, but I was just thinking about cutting it out because it's in the way. And he said, oh, we'll bury it. So they didn't bury it with the power line. They buried it somewhere else. Not sure how, where. Anyway, yeah. So now Centerpoint can come out and pull their temporary pipe out of here. And I have no idea what this fiber is doing behind the house. Somebody dropped it off and never used it. I think it might have been for AT&T. I don't know. Yeah, anyway. So now we're without internet for a couple of days. All right, welcome back. Well, I got home just in time for the electricians to cut power to the house, and they finished trenching and running the new line and reconnecting and all that. So now I can get back out here in the garage and put my wheels back together. The wheels back on the Silverwing. The one unfortunate circumstance is Murphy's Law. You know, Murphy's not done with me yet. He's got more parting gifts for me. So it's not one step forward, two steps back, but it is one step forward, one step back. When they turned the power back on, my fiber internet modem smoked. So no internet for 2 days until the provider can come out here and swap the modem. That sucks. Anywho, while I've got this apart, I'm going to clean my rotors, Scotch-Brite, green Scotch-Brite pad, and non-chlorinated brake cleaner to clean off the brake residue from the old pads, because I'm going to be putting on some new EBC double H pads, front and rear, on this scoot. So it's easier to do it while the wheels are already off, so this is that. The idea here is just to remove the residue of the old pads, because they've all got different chemical compositions and whatnot. And when you bed pads to a rotor, you're actually leaving behind some of the brake pad material on the rotor itself. So then when you change to a different composition, it's always good to clean them up, get them fresh. Resurface your rotors if you want to, if you've got the equipment for that, but that's not really all that necessary. Just need to get the old brake residue off of there. Follow this up with either a fresh shop rag or some clean shop towels, something like that, to make sure that this is all cleaned off, because it's leaving a bunch of slime and sludge behind right now. Ugh. Of course, before I put this back on the bike, I'll make sure that I re-grease the splines, do all that stuff. It'll be a little bit of a cleanup job. It's been sitting around a while, got a lot of brake goo, road grime, God knows what else on there from sitting for the last 3+ years. Hell, it's been longer now. I think it's been almost 5 years now, and this thing's been sitting. It's been a while. This stuff will eat your bearing grease up, so make sure you re-grease. Oh, that's prettier. I can see where the pad was stuck to the disc. There's one spot where you can see pad marks. Funny. Alright, that should be good enough. Lather, rinse, repeat, do the front wheel, and get the wheels back on this thing so I can roll it around the garage and it's not nailed in this one spot for too long. Alright, those crusty old 20-year-old wheels cleaned up pretty good. Got the tires on there, soaked them down with Simple Green, hit them with a pressure washer, and then went through and cleaned up the rotors and the aluminum here and there and everywhere. Used a little brake cleaner, a little elbow grease, got them all cleaned up. Looked pretty good. Got a few scars on them from road use and road abuse over the last couple of decades, but looking pretty good. So I'm about to re-grease the collars in there, the dust seals and all that stuff, and goop them up with red synthetic goo and do the same to the axle and shove it all back together. Put the front wheel on first. I'm going to tackle the front brake pads, put on those EBC double H's that I have, and then I'll move on to the rear wheel. So hopefully I'll have time tomorrow after work to continue the project. Alright, we're back at it. The wheel cleaned up pretty nicely. I'm going to go ahead and put it back on, and I think that's where I'm going to stop tonight. I'll put the front and rear wheels back on, and I'll do the brakes tomorrow. It's getting kind of late. I'm tired. Let's do this part. You need to grease the splines in here just a little bit with some good moly based lube, or what do they call it, lithium soap based, whatever it is. I just use the Mobile One synthetic bearing grease. This stuff is great. Magic red goo, works on everything except for brakes. Don't put it on your brakes. And don't get it on your clothes, because it never comes out of your clothes. So what I do is I just smear a tiny bit of the goo along the splines here, and then I'm also going to grease up the output shaft there and make sure that we've got good coverage. It's mostly for anti-seizing, anti-galling, but it's also for anti-corrosion, because you get water in here in this spline over time, and it can get a little rusty and crunchy in there. So make sure she's happy. I got a little too much goo. I will put that on there for the sealing surface of the bolts. Axle nut, rather. So that's that. I'm going to grease up the axle shaft there, or the output shaft, whatever you call it, so I can get the wheel out of my way. Hard to do. Sitting on the ground. There we go. Silverwing's a hovercraft right now. It's got no front or rear wheels. It's a hover bike. Alright. Probably should be wearing gloves with this, but who cares? Alright, a little bit on the spline teeth up here, just to give it some anti-seize, anti-corrosion properties. I'm never shy with this stuff. It's great for keeping water out of bearings, and I just slather it on. I've never had a problem putting too much. It will grab a little bit of extra dirt, you know, road grime and stuff like that if you just got it really caked up, but this'll go a long way toward shedding water and keeping it out of my way. All right, that's how I've been treating this thing since I got it. I got this thing with under 5,000 miles on it. I want to say it was 4,600 miles or something like that. Somebody had put it on the back of their RV. It had a really fancy hydraulic lift that lifted it up, you know, electric winch, the whole bit. It was a pretty impressive setup. And they just didn't use it as much as they thought they would, and they needed it to go to a new home, and I said, I'll take it. I got a good deal. I think I only paid $3,500 for it, which is not bad. But, you know, it was way back when. A long time ago. Long ago. Okay, so we got this all greased up. That's all good to go. I think that's how it goes. I got to look at my diagram, but slide all that on there, and good to go. Okay, here we go. Maneuver it back into place ever so gently, if I can get my angles right. There it goes. All right. Get this guy in there. Oh, she's taller than the other one. Might have to let air out of the tire. It's pretty close. Pretty close. Scraping on the ground. I don't have enough clearance. Yep. Looks like I'm going to have to do the front wheel first. That way I can tip the front down because it's lifted too high. So, scrap that idea. Alright, so let's get the front wheel in there first. I'm doing it out of order. I haven't had this thing up on the fork stands like this before. I used to have a different stand that was lower than this. This one's jacking it up pretty high, so I lose too much clearance at the back. Because I've had both wheels off of it many times, and I could do it in either order, but not this time. A little too tall. Let's get my magic goo. Grease up the bearing, or sorry, the axle spacers and the axle shaft, and I will do the same inside the seals, axle seals over there. I don't need that much, just need a whittle bit. Set you like that so you don't get dirty. Don't rub the eyes. Almost did. I cleaned these collars earlier. Just brake cleaner, fresh rag, get all the old goo off of them. Cleaned up nice. Nice and silver. They look brand new. Slather this one up. It's just for water rejection is really all that's for. And that's that. Let me get the wheel and we'll start loading this thing up. Trying to not touch my brake rotor with greasy fingers. So what we're going to do is put a bunch of good red goo inside the bearing race and water seal here, and I load them up. I run them thick. Not gonna hurt. Not gonna hurt a thing. The more you pack in there, the less room there is for water to get in there and sit and ruin your bearings. Okay. I think that one's gooped up. You guys probably aren't seeing much. I apologize. I'm trying to see what I'm doing. And another one over here on the other side. Load it up. She's slathered up. Good and goopy. Good for water rejection. Okay, so, and while I was doing this, I don't know if you're still on camera, I apologize again. I checked the wheel bearings. They don't have any play in them, which is good considering this is such an old bike, and I've never replaced these wheel bearings. Pretty impressed with them, actually. I was planning to go ahead and replace the wheel bearings just as a precaution, but I didn't order those yet, and these are checking out fine, so I'm not worried about it. If I notice any weird behavior, then I'll go ahead and replace them when I get back from this trip. Plan on keeping this bike on the road for another 10 years, I hope. We'll see. Okay, so put an axle spacer in. See how the grooves line up. Yep, those look like the grooves. Put another one in, get the dirt off of it. Is that the right direction? Nope, other direction. I think that one's that side. There we go. Boink, boink. They're evenly spaced. They're not different sizes. They're equal. So, trying to get this crap off my hands so I don't touch that brake rotor, because this grease is really thick. It doesn't want to come off of anything, especially clothing. In fact, I've got a couple of work jeans that have this grease in them from, probably 10 years ago. Every time they're washed, these red grease stains are still there. Okay, let's see if I can get this in there without hurting myself with a bike. All right, what's the plan? What's the plan? I'm gonna go up and over, in at an angle. Pretty much how it came out. Squeak! There it goes. Now, use the feet to lift it up just a bit, get everything lined up so I can run the axle shaft in. There was one place I forgot to clean up. Right there, inside the axle pinch. Lower fork clamps here. Put a little bit more goo on there when I get closer. Grease this up a tiny bit. I guess I can put a tiny bit here. Fresh grease on there so you can rotate it to torque the axle down. And now I don't have a rag. Ugh. Okay. One of these days I'm going to get one of those little pneumatic lifts. I've seen a couple of guys have those. Gus on the Rebel 11 used one with his Rebel when he was doing the wheels. I think it was a rear wheel specifically. And it's just a little pillow that's got a hand pump on it. It looks like an air pressure cuff, for doing blood pressure tests. And you just pump it up and it lifts the wheel up and down. Oh man, that's such a smart idea. I've never had one of those. I have to upgrade my game. Okay, so up we go. Don't knock out the spacers. Yep, spacer's trying to fall out. There you go, there you go. And we got one side. Using the toes. And now, keeping the spacer in is the trick. Nope. You can only do it one direction. It doesn't go the other way. There we go. There we go. Stay. Stay. And she's in there. Almost. 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 There she goes. She's home. She's on the other side. So I will locate this thing now so I don't have to dick with it in a minute. And there we go. All right. So, let that fall free for a moment. I will get my axle nut in the other side. Dig up the torque specs. Can't remember what they are right now. I think it's 46 foot-pounds. I will look at the manual before I torque it. There we go. Alright, time to torque it up. And I will do the brakes mañana. Right. Don't touch the shop manual with dirty hands, eh? Oh, I was close. 43 and 16. So 43 foot-pounds for the axle nut on the other side of this, and 16 for the pinch bolts on the bottom. So, let's get that done. Ah, it's already twisted out of position. With these fork stands, you got a very limited room to do what you want to do. And I'm going to pinch my thumb in there. Yep. Ow. All right. Click. That's it. 43. And I'll have to get my screwdriver out of there after the fact. Get out. Get! I'll get it out eventually. I'm gonna have to pull it down. It can wait. I'll torque the bottom bolts when I get it down off the stand. Let's do that. And ever so gently, don't let the bike go flying. In fact, I'm gonna chop that front wheel so it doesn't roll forward off the stand because there's no back end. Much rather you not go toppling over on your side. Good. There we go. Ever so gently, she's good. All right. I gotta figure out how to get my screwdriver out of there. Derp. Derp. Pull it sideways. There it goes. Yep, she's blocked. Okay, move on to the rear wheel. Get it done. So she'll be back on her own 2 feet. Okay, let's see if I've got the clearance to get that rear wheel in there now. Should have, because the front end is definitely down lower than it was. All right. Heave-ho. Get you out of the way. Maneuver the rear wheel in here, and oh yeah, axle's high now, so I can get on that. Oh, see daisy. Chunk, chunk. She's on there. Okay. Put our collar back in place. Make sure that all the surfaces have got a good coating of goo. Not enough goo. I want more goo. More goo. Oh, that's goo. little bit of excess here that we don't need. And then we've got the swing arm support. There's another bearing here, so I'm going to clean that out real quick, goo it up, and put it back together. Should have done this one earlier when I had all the brake cleaner out and going, but I forgot. Because now this thing's all dirty and the wheel is so shiny they don't match. Okay, get all that old grease out of there and time for new grease. And of course Murphy, it's on the other side of the bike. What's that Murphy's Law? Whenever a tool is dropped when working on a vehicle, it's always going to roll to the farthest side of the vehicle that you can't reach. Yep. That's how it works. Entropy always follows mechanical tasks. It's a magnet. Oh yeah, lots of goo. We got her gooey. Enough inside past the inside of the seal here, just on the metal, to act as an additional water barrier, and then I'm gooping up the bearing face and all that. And again, I tested all these bearings earlier, and there's no slop, no nothing. They spin freely, so got lucky with all these old bearings. Of course, this bike hasn't been in salt water or salt state, anything like that, so it's been pretty well cared for. Okay, here we go. I think the worst I've treated it is left it sitting on my patio. I had it covered. The cover kept blowing off no matter what I did. I would tie it under the bottom, I would secure it, and we had so many storms and high winds and everything that the cover just kept getting ripped away from it. I'd find the cover in the front yard, a house or two away. How did you do that? So it sat out there on the patio for almost a year, good 10 months, 9 or 10 months, uncovered a good portion of the time, and just got all nasty, just weathered. Not really rusty or anything anywhere except for the shock, but I think that was already happening anyway. Just weathered. Get. That's it. Okay. Put the swing arm support bolts back in. Put the rear axle nut back on with just a little bit of goo. We need goo, right? Just a little bit of goo. Just on the sealing surface. Anti-seize, makes me feel good. Okay. And these guys. Oh, these guys. That's not that guy. This guy. That's the guy. I'm gonna support my parking brake here. It's getting in the way. I feel a thread. I feel a thread coming on. There's a thread. There's another thread. I've never even looked for the parking brake shoes for this thing. I suppose I could replace those. They're about halfway done. I have ridden the bike with the parking brake on a couple times by accident. Wondered why it was feeling a little lethargic. And then I looked down at the dash. Oh, that's what that idiot light is. Idiot. Okay, spin that in. This is brakes. That's shock. Get on there. And I gotta lift this up. Now there it goes. Ugh. Get the exhaust back on there momentitos. Not too concerned. That's brake. That's brake, brake. This is parking brake, brake. And yeah, but I'm leaving the brakes off. I just want to do that part. Well, I'm the rear wheel back on, front and rear wheels back on, new tires, cleaned up the wheels a bit. I'm just going to get this all nailed down and then do the brakes tomorrow. I'm not feeling up to doing the brakes right now. I'm tired, ready to call her quits for the night. I can remember which tools I need, damn it. Okay.
There's something else pretty big that needs to be done.
Yeah, I got to pull the tank out of it. I got to do a bunch of stuff, and the valve maintenance. I could probably ride it without the valves being cleaned up and checked and all that because it was doing okay before I parked it. But they're like 8,000 miles over, so I need to do it. I need to do it.
Worse than,
It's worse than the year 500F.
yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get these in loosely. Okay, back those off, set this guy, and I think that's it. Looking for my adapter. What did I do with the adapter? No, it's a bigger. Where was it? This guy? Which one is it? No, it's the other direction, I think. Yeah, I need the, oh, it's on this ratchet. Derp. Okay, I'll set the torques on those tomorrow when I get the rest of it going. I'll go ahead and spin in that shock bolt while I'm at it. Too many adapters. Nope, not lining up. Too many bolts. Don't want to put your knee on a bolt. It hurts a lot. It was like a 2-week bruise. I'm gonna have to get the wedge under the tire. Hey, what do you know? Threads the line right up. Well, that's the wrong one. There. The shock bolts is the other one. This one is the exhaust hanger bolt. Funny, thread works though. It's just too long. That's the exhaust hanger. Where is my shock bolt? Shock the monkey. Oh, I got a screw loose. Oh my god, it's hot. So hot I can't focus. It's 100 degrees out here right now. 99. I can't find it. I got a screw loose. It's gotta be right here because I didn't take it anywhere. Are you under? Nope. I don't know where you are. Here's my shock bolt. I quit. I'm tired. Okay, welcome back to the fun. I forgot to turn on the camera and I've just been working away, busy. I got the The rear suspension I'll put back together, torque the axle down, put my parking brake on there, put the rear brake caliper back on, and I decided to start pumping up my rear brake just to get pressure on it. And I already had my cap off up here to start flushing it out, you know, get rid of this old fluid. You should see it. I'll show you in this one when I open it up, but it was like dark tea, coffee color, really nasty. And I don't know if that shows up on camera, but there's a lot of corrosion on the top of the master cylinder, so I got to scrape that clean before I finish this job. But anyway, stupid me forgot that this is combined braking. You got one line coming out of this master cylinder, but oops, sorry for the camera work. I forgot that this combined braking has a little third slave cylinder down here, and I'm squeezing the brake, wondering why it's not pumping up. And then it dawned on me, oh crap, yeah, there's a third cylinder in this thing, and it's on the front. I pushed the piston all the way out, and it started pissing brake fluid all over the garage floor. So yeah, well, I was going to flush it out anyway. I just didn't intend on doing it that way. Oops. The other problem I have, I was doing the brakes, and I had rear brake pads for it that fit, but EBC and their, you know, everybody like Dennis Kirk and Revzilla and everybody that has their part numbers, they're wrong. Tomorrow sometime I should have those correct pads, and I'll finish up the brake job. So I'm stuck. I can't do much more right now because there's no sense in putting that back together, putting the old pads in so I can pump it up. I'll just wait until I get, oh, hey, you're leaking on my floor again. I'll wait until I get all this stuff together and then do that properly. So now it's just the other parts of the project. I've decided that I don't want to do my valve maintenance, just based on forums and everything, you know, opinion, general consensus out there. These really don't need adjustment that often, if ever. They need checked, you know, when they're at about 16,000 miles, and if they're in spec, you just leave them alone. And people have gone 100,000 miles on these scoots without checking or setting valve clearance. So I think this one's okay. When I got in there at, I can't remember what it was. I have to look at my notes, but I think it was 22 or 24,000 miles. I checked them and they were dead on. There was no, I mean, maybe a thousandth difference between the two sides, and they were both well in spec, so I don't think there's any reason to dick with this. So I'm going to leave that part of it alone. But I am going to pull these plastics, and I haven't decided if I'm pulling the nose off of this guy yet, because I need to get down in here, which you won't be able to see because it's dark, but I've got an air horn right there that doesn't work anymore, and it's using my factory horn wires that I've got to get to in order to hook up the factory horn, or some other horn, to have a horn. So I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm going to pull this whole nose off again. It's a pain in the ass. It's got a ton of tabs that like to break, so I may just leave it, and I'll reach in here sideways or through the, you know, front gauge cluster or something to get those horn wires off of there and hook up a different horn. But I don't relish the idea of pulling the front end off of this thing. But at any rate, I do need to pull off the mid plastics here and get to my tank so I can pull the tank out of it and do the vinegar treatment and clean that thing up. So. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the day. I don't know what time it is exactly. It's like 3:45, 4 o'clock, something like that, and it's friggin' hot. Sun is out in full. We got a lot of rain clouds brewing and little showers every now and then, but it's friggin' hot. It's 98, 99 degrees in here. Yeah, good stuff. So, pardon my messy garage. Getting back to this task. I took like an hour trying to find, or 2 hours actually, trying to find my silly key for the Silverwing. It's been walkabout, missing in action for 2 years, pretty much, since I brought this thing back from the warehouse. Anyway, I found the key, and now I'm getting into the tank to figure out what the story is, and the key mechanism, you know, the tumbler inside was pretty much just seized up, rusted up, whatever. It took me forever to get the key in there and get it unlocked. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see what I'm seeing. Where's my flashlight? I had to find my flashlight. So anyway, I pull the cap off of this thing, and look, the tank is totally full. So I must have, I'm trying to get to the flash. You can see it. It's right there. I mean, it's just right up at the top of the neck. So I must have filled this thing right when I brought it home, and I'm hoping that I put fuel stabilizer in it. I can't remember. It's been over 2 years ago. So what I'm going to do, instead of pulling the tank, which means pulling all these plastics, and I don't intend on doing the valves right now, I might get lucky, and that tank might not be rusted up. So what I'm going to do is suck all the stuff out of it with a topsider vacuum pump thing, and suck the fuel out. It's going to have, you know, probably 4 gallons of fuel in it, so it'll take me a couple of iterations, but that's the plan. I'm going to suck the fuel out, and then I'm going to stick a camera down in there. I think I have a boroscope somewhere. I'm going to go digging in my computer bins and see if I can find that. And if the tank isn't real rusty, I'm just going to leave it in and hope for the best. So when the tanks are real full like this, if you ever store a vehicle for a long time, that's the best posture, is you have the tank as full as possible. That way you have less air room in there to gather moisture and condensation and stuff in your fuel. Now obviously, you know, you want to treat it if you remember, but I don't know if I remembered, so good luck to us all. Okay, grab the tools, see if I've got everything in one shot here. I'm being lazy on this rebuild project. I will probably end up getting back in all the plastics later because I do want to do my valve maintenance, but I'm going to wait until after this trip for that, because I fear that if I open it up and then I find other problems that I just can't leave alone, then it's going to delay me. I'm going to use the ignorance is bliss excuse and just ride it as is. I am going to check my fuel hoses and vacuum hoses and stuff like that. But once I get the brakes and the CVT and the tank all sorted out, I'm going to leave it alone. And then when I come back, I'll pull the plastics and I'll do the valve maintenance. And there's a couple other things in there that I would like to do while I'm under the skin. And I'll leave those unsaid until I get them done. But we'll see. So let's pull the Variator cover off and see what we've got. I haven't had this open since the glazing event. Oh, you're going to come open. Just don't know it yet. Oh, I need to go get some Allens, it looks like. I forgot there's a couple of Allen bolts for this rear. Haven't been in this bike in a long time. A long time. Well, I see you. I can't get to you. Can I? Oh, can I? You know, I'm supposed to pull that side rear pillion head plate off of there, whatever you want to call this. Get off. Do I need to take it out? I can get it without that. I'm testing my road smarts here as far as being able to do this on the side of the road without taking that off. I've never gone through that. I've never needed to do belt maintenance on the side of the road, but for long highway trips, it's good to know how to do it and exactly what you've got to take off. So I'm going to avoid pulling this off. It's just 2 8mm bolts, but one more tool to carry, you know. Just trying to see if I can get it done without that. I feel one more right here. I think I can reach it. I think I can. Oh, it's close. It's an angle. Just trying to see if it can be done. If I have to pull that, I will. Yeah, it's rounding. Crap. Alright, so I do have to pull this. Alright, now I know. So I'm going to have to take an 8mm driver with me for roadside repair. Alright. Nope. Nope, those are on there. I'm going to have to go get the condenser. Welcome to the condenser. The Milwaukee. She'll take those off. I'd probably do it with a big T-handle, but why? If I've got a tool that'll do it, I'll use this. Lefty loosey. I said now. I'm not asking. Alright. Pull this plate off of there. It's got a pop clip and a couple of those. Yep. Alright, now I can get to that. Okay, so what do we got? What else? 1, 2, 3 of those. That should be this front cover. And there's a filter in there that you have to clean periodically. I'm a little leery about that foam. It breaks down, and I'll show you why I'm leery of it. Because I have a brand new one in a bag that didn't even survive its bag. Check this out. I might need to make one of these out of some other filter material myself. That's a brand new one in the bag, kids. Look at that. Brand new. 11356 MCT 000. Brand new, still sealed in the factory bag, and it's just totally degraded. It's dead, it's gone. That was a new one that I was keeping for this task. Let's scramble it, see how much worse it gets. Ah! Yeah, it's breaking down even just from that banging around. Look at that. It's crazy. Brand new. Not anymore, it's not. Anyway, I'm going to try to not kill this one because you do need that filter to keep the CVT from ingesting a bunch of road crap. Little O-ring seems to be okay. It's got a screw there. I'm not even going to pull that loose. Yeah, this filter is clean. I'm leaving it alone. I don't want to foul it. We'll leave that alone and say that we checked today. Okay, so now I've got a bunch of Allens that I got to pull out of this cover, and then I can pull the Variator cover off of there. So these are just outer covers. That's the, I forget their term for it in the parts list, but it's the front Variator cover, but it's not actually the aluminum housing part. Line them up. Pile of tools on the floor. Come here. Tools everywhere. Tools. Hopefully I got the right tools. If you don't have the right tools, you're gonna go digging. I think I got the right tools. We're gonna find out. Grab a handful and start matching up sizes. I want to say I've got a 4 and a 5. Oh, he hits it on the first try. Lefty loosey. Spin that out. Another one just like it. And a couple more back. When you're doing this, I don't know if it's on camera, I hope it is, you don't need to pull this big one back here at the back in this recessed area. That's for the final drive oil, I believe. See if I'm wrong, but you don't have to pull that one. I believe the cover goes right over it. Let's see if my memory serves me correctly. Yes! My first rodeo. Yeah, so this is the rear, the final drive oil. Let me turn you that way. That's the final drive oil fill check. There's a drain bolt somewhere else if I remember right, but this is where you fill and check it. So I will be refreshing that before this hits the road. It's an easy thing to do. I've got a pump oiler and also a squeeze bottle that makes that refilling that pretty simple. So anywho, we've got the outer cover now. We got a bunch of what looks like 12s. A couple of 12s, another one, maybe these are 10s, no, these are 12s. And then another 8 hiding here, 8 here, and I remember 2 more, no, just 1 more, okay. So a couple of 8s here, 1, 2, 3, and then these guys, and then the cover will come off. Now you gotta be careful of your speed sensor. This is the speed sensor for the rear wheel. Don't damage that wiring or suddenly your speedometer stops working and start getting all kinds of error lights on your dash. Ask me how I know. Not my first rodeo. Not my first time through this. I broke that wire. I had to replace it. It ties into the harness up here. I had to replace that just after I got the scoot. And I don't even know how I broke it because I wasn't getting in here. It quit working. So. Well, it was loose. Okay, So now it's just these three guys holding the cover, and I will go get my 12 and zip that out. Mighty 12. This isn't something you want to do on the side of the road, trust me. It's just painful. It's bad enough on the PCX, but this has got a lot more bolts, and you'll see when we get in here, it's a lot bigger everything. And I don't know if I've got my Variator holder that I fabricated for this guy anymore. I'll have to look. But yeah, it's a job. Definitely want to start your trip with a fresh belt and not have to mess with this monkey. Wrong way. Lefty loosey. Oh, you're on there. Convincer. Convincer. Right. What does the convincer have to say? It says, obey me, that's what it says. Get off! Okay, I think we've got them all. Pardon the view of my head. Should be it. I might need my mallet. Yeah, I'm going to need my rubber mallet to bang this thing off of there, but I think I've got all my bolts. Eeny, miny. Yeah. Alright, rubber mallet time. Look at it. Dead blow hammer works well for this also, but I can't find my dead blow hammer. I've got a couple of big orange ones, but I don't know where they are. Should just wiggle off. Nope. What am I missing? I'm not missing nothing. I'm not missing. Oh yeah, one more right here. Don't get impatient. Screw it up. I got one more. I figured the front would get loose before that though. There it goes. Hey, it's just that one holding it on there. Look at that clutch, kids. That is no messing around. Variator as well. It's on a whole new scale of big compared to PCX and smaller scoots. There's no dicking around. This is a big, nasty spring and much heavier rotating assembly. Fair amount of belt dust. It's not bad. I mean, that's tolerable. Not bad. Set this over here. And I'm going to remember what I got to do. What do I got to do? The nice thing about this is you do not have to pull the clutch out of this to change a belt. You only have to pull your driven face on your Variator, and then you can get the belt on and off of this without pulling the whole clutch out of it. I need to pull the clutch out because I've got to deglaze the clutch, and it's going to suck. It's going to suck. It's a big job, pain in the butt. There's a nut right in here that's got to come out. It's just it's a big heavy assembly, and that thing's torqued down pretty good, so I'm gonna have to get tools and rejoin you. All right, welcome back. Neil just called. He was giving me updates on my PCX 150 on all the wrenching and customization and hacking he's doing on it. Sounds like he's making some good progress on an auxiliary fuel tank and a few other things. I'm set up here. It's a 22 for the rear clutch drive nut and 17 up front for the Variator nut. So I'm going to pull the Variator off right now and I'll start working on this guy. I need to set my parking brake, which has been freshly tightened when I reassembled the other side of it, and now the parking brake actually works again because it didn't used to work. I think I rode the bike for a mile or something and the brake was partially engaged, so it burned those pads down. It's a separate set of pads, and it wasn't holding very well, but I adjusted it when I put it all back together and it seems to be okay. So here we go. We're gonna use the condenser. Take this thing off, and I will do the same on the rear right after I set that brake. Should work fine. Okay. should be locked up. Yep. Parking brake on this thing, when it's adjusted properly, works pretty good. Pretty good. Take that extension out of there. Less flex. Don't like using reducers with impact sockets, but you gotta do what you gotta do, right? That's all I have handy. Ah, get on there. Get. Get. Like I say, it doesn't ask. It says get off. It means get off. I love this Milwaukee M18, man. This thing rocks. It's expensive, but worth every penny. Every penny. Alright, I'm going to pull these out of there. She should be free. Come on out. Come on out. Where'd it go? Did it already fall out? It's falling out. Oh yeah, it's over here. Herp. It's over there next to me. Okay. This guy should just slide right off. You can see water or moisture that's kind of caked on there a bit, so I'll clean this surface up with green Scotch-Brite and some brake clean. Belt, yeah, you can see. I'll bring you into the action here. Look at the water and just sitting outside and getting rained in and not run for years now, at least 2 years. So yeah, and the belt is kind of bent in a position, so we're putting a new belt on it. This belt really isn't all that old. I think it only had maybe 4,000 miles on it. I got to look back on my maintenance records. So I'll keep this as a spare, but I've got a new Milwaukee belt that's going to go on here. Let's see if you're still on camera here. You are. This big heavy monkey should slide right off, and then I can get in there and look at these. Oh yeah, those are crunchy. Oh, they are bad, kids. In fact, I can't reuse those, and I hope my bell isn't damaged. I put a new bell on this. I have the original clutch, the original everything. These got destroyed. These clutch pads, I'll give you a close-up in a minute. These got eaten up during that traffic situation where I was constantly burning in and out of them. Let me see if I can get you up close. I'll take some close-up pictures of these and put them in there, but there's no more clutch material. It's all the way down to the metal backer. There is clutch shoe material right there. So this is gone. There's no more clutch shoe. Yeah, you can see it really clean on this one. That's just shiny metal. So that's why my clutch was not happy with me. And unfortunately, this is a very expensive clutch. It's like a $450 clutch, and I just got crap all over my shorts. That's never going to come out. Oh well. Luckily for me, I still have the factory clutch and the factory bell, because I'm sure this bell is now damaged from heat and everything else, so I'm going to have to pull that, and I don't remember what it takes to do that. I think I had to torch this thing with a propane torch to heat it up to get it off of this spline, because it really gets stuck on here. Hopefully you're still on camera. That's a very tight fit. I remember having to heat this thing with a heat gun, and even the heat gun wasn't doing it, so I got a propane, trigger torch thing and just warmed up this section to expand it a bit to get it on and off of that spline. You could use some jaw pullers or whatever, but it's going to be very hard. My drive spline here is very discolored from heat, so this clutch, yeah, and it looks like my bearings are pretty discolored in there, so yeah, that clutch is done. So I'm going to have to pull these 6 bolts out of there, remove this clutch, put the factory clutch back on the rear torque drive, and bye-bye Dr.Pulley HiT clutch. It was nice while it lasted, but it didn't last. She's dead, Jim. That is a dead clutch, kids. This is a Dr.Pulley HiT clutch in a 2004 Silverwing. And the Silverwing can dish out the torque, let me tell you. It shredded this clutch. That's metal. That's the metal backer here. This is clutch material, and it should be about, oh, it fell over. It should be about double this thickness, right? Where's my finger? There it is. It should be over double this thickness. So the leading edge of it is just gone, and it's peeling metal, and yeah, that's eating the bell over here. That's done. So the bell is destroyed. and the clutch is toast, cannot be reused. Done. I don't know if it's possible to buy new shoes for these Dr. Pulley HiT clutches or not. Theoretically, you could rebuild them, pull out these little circlips, punch the pins, and obviously remove your springs. These are the operation on this thing is a little interesting. It has an eccentric cam that, as the centrifugal force hits and pulls against it, the weights counteract it to a certain point, but then the shoes pop out and lock at a certain RPM, and you can tune the RPM based on the weight or stiffness of these springs. This is what came on it from the factory, which was like a 3,800 RPM lockup, something like that. I can't remember. But when it was fresh, let me tell you, this clutch rocked. It had amazing launches, and you could feel the bump when it locked up, and you knew that it was not slipping anymore, so that was really good for fuel economy. But I was stuck in a stop-and-go traffic situation on West Park Tollway several years ago for 2.5 hours. Start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. 2.5 hours. And the clutch started misbehaving on that trip, and cut that. So the clutch started misbehaving on that trip, and now we know why. I burned through all of the friction material, and it's just metal. Just metal, man. Oh, that one's bad. Look at that. All metal and just a little bit of grip. So basically, I had to run this thing up to like 4,000 or 5,000 RPM just to get it to go, and what it was doing was spinning metal on metal until it got up to a high enough RPM for the clutch shoes to lock out, and then it was just go. So yeah, not good. Anyway, I'm replacing it with the factory clutch. I'm going to zip out these 6 bolts, take the dead clutch out of there, put the factory clutch back in that's only got a few thousand miles on it with fresh shoes, and I've got the original bell too, so that's hard to get off. I'll sort that. Okay, so I separated the clutch from the drive, friction drive assembly, whatever you call it, torque drive. It's just 6 bolts. They come out pretty easily with an impact gun. You don't want to try to do it with a ratchet, because then you got to figure out a way to hold this still while you're cranking on it. Impact gun makes quick work of it. My bearings look a little heat soaked, scorched in there, so I'm going to clean those up the best I can. I want to reuse this torque assembly. I really don't want to buy a new one if I can avoid it. I think you can replace the bearings in there, but it's a big job and it's fairly expensive, so I'm going to refurbish this the best I can, hope that I can put it back into service, and I'll put the factory clutch back on here after I do the full cleanup. But everything else looks to be in okay shape. Bearing on this side is good. Good color. There's no run out or a problem with it that I can feel. I haven't done a finger test on this guy yet because I'm afraid of metal shards from that shredded drive bell. So I'm gonna hose it out real good with some brake cleaner and an air gun, and then I'll re-grease the you-know-what out of it with some good synthetic red grease, repack those bearings, and put it back in service. There's a little circlip that locates the bell on there. I'm going to remove that and see if I can get the bell to start behaving, but if I can avoid using the heat gun and a torch, I'll do it. Get that silly little circlip out of there. There's a special tool that Honda specifies for this job. The bell is threaded right here, and they've got a collar that threads onto that, and then you press from here, and it's a big gear puller essentially. But I was able to do it without that tool when I installed this clutch many years ago. Just want to get that little circlip out of there. It's not a traditional circlip where you've got to use the pliers. It's just a spring steel ring that drops into a recess on this output shaft. See if I can get it out of there and convince the bell to come off without any additional gymnastics. There's one side of it. Hey, don't you pop back in. This isn't a discussion. I'm not asking. I want you to behave. I need some pliers. Dang it. Dang it! Oh, goodness. It's hot out here. Have I mentioned that it's hot? It's hot. Okay. So, what? Hey, don't you do it. My hands are absolutely filthy with clutch residue now. Not the ideal thing to rub your eyes or your face with. Hey! I want you to stay out here. Don't go back in there. Thank you. Stop. Right there. And now your buddy. Now your buddy. Now your buddy. Come on. There are pliers for this. Do I have them handy? No, I don't. So I'm going to make do with other manual methods like this. Should be okay. Yeah, that's going. I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. Yep, she's coming out. I got it. I got it. Oh, I had it. Oh, he had it. What's over there? Keeps dropping into that little groove, right? Oh, little groove right there. I want you to come out. That's the one. Oh, there it goes. Stay out of there. I don't want you to go back in. I don't really care what I do this drum or this bell, because I think this bell is damaged. So I'm not going to worry about it. Doink. There's a little circlip. Okay, let's see if I can get it off. Nah, it's going to need to be heated. That's what I remember. That's why I was avoiding doing this job, because I know it's a pain in the ass. So I will grab my heat gun and punish this thing to see if I can get it to expand without resorting to big jaw gear pullers and all that. I do not have the specialty tool that screws down onto this bell. So I'll figure it out. Being a pack rat pays off sometimes, eh? Here's where's the label? Here's my 2004 Honda Silverwing project / storage box with all the pieces and parts that have come and gone over the years. And here's my factory clutch with about 4,000 miles on it. Sealed up in plastic from the replacement one that I put on there, which was the Dr.Pulley HiT. Sorry about the camera work here. Running out of fingers. So this is a factory clutch. Ugh! Much smaller and less intimidating than that Dr.Pulley, but it doesn't have near the performance of the features. The Dr.Pulley is an interesting animal. I'll go more into the details later. I'll show you a little diagram here of how it works, but essentially it's got eccentric cams on these clutch shoes, and they shift and lock into position. So it's actually a full lock-up clutch, and you can tune the RPM at which it locks up based on different springs that they send you in the kit. I believe it's right here. So they send you different flavors of springs and different weights. Yeah, if I can get all the stuff out of the way, pardon the camera work. So they tell you about tuning it with the different weights. You can see some of the springs and spacers there. And then the main things that you have, this is a thrust ring, or sorry, not a thrust ring, it's a spacer for the rear contra spring to increase the preload on your contra spring if you should want to do that. Still have the original little keychain that they sent me. That's cool. I don't know how many years old that is now. So here are the different springs. You got red, yellow, blue. You got different weights, pink. I just ran the factory springs that they sent in it, which I think were a yellow variety. But they don't send you extra shoes. The shoes, once the shoes are dead, you got to get new shoes for it. Or I don't even think they sell the shoes, so you just got to get a whole new clutch. So I might end up putting another Dr.Pulley HiT clutch in there. But this factory clutch is pretty fresh. It's got some, little metal fragments in it here and there, but it's still got plenty of meat on those shoes. So we're going to reuse that. Put the factory clutch back in there. Now I will continue running the Variator. I've got a performance Variator in here from Dr.Pulley. I don't know if I can pull that with one hand without making a mess out of myself or the Variator. Probably not wise. Let's see if I can get it. Get the backing plate behind it. Can he get it in one shot? Oh, he got it so far. So far. Come on out. Whoa, come on out. Oh, there he goes. It's a little heavy. Put it over here. I apologize, you got fan noise blowing in your ear right now because there's a fan right next to me. So I should be able to get the backer off of it. And here is a bunch of belt dust, normal wear and tear, but this is a Dr.Pulley Performance Variator and their sliders. So I'll clean all these up and check them for abnormal wear. I believe they're okay, there's no problem. I do have another set of weights for this. I think they were a different weight than these are, but I'll clean all this up and get it ready for service. It's going back in there with the factory clutch. Alright everybody, I've been out here wrenching away at this thing. I haven't recorded a lot of the reassembly, but I put the rear end of it back together, put the exhaust back on, getting underneath it, checking bolts and making sure my exhaust header's all tightened up and doing all that stuff. And I started pulling the brakes off. Went ahead and pulled the rear brake master cylinder because it was already drained when I accidentally pushed that piston out the other day. So yeah, anywho, but I wanted to show you the nice coffee colored 10 plus, probably 15-year-old gooey, glycerinified, won't focus on my fingers. Anyway, it's just glycerin. It's all crusty, crunchy around in here. So yeah, it's time for the brakes to be redone for sure. My new pads came in a couple of hours ago from Amazon. These are the correct pads from what I can tell. They're not the official pads, but these are the EBC FA261HH. There's also a 281HH that has the S in front of it for scooter, so SFA 281HH. These pads, the 261s, are the same dimensions. They're actually used on a lot of the bigger bikes. I think they're used on VFRs, they're used on Gold Wings, everything else, but they match up. They're the same physical dimensions. Well, I'll have to get my other pads out. But anyway, I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm tired. I'm going inside. The mosquitoes are starting to bite out here, and I don't want to be mosquito food. So, welcome to the carnage. I'm still working on the clutch. I've got to get that bell off of there, and it doesn't want to come off. So it's going to be a heat gun and a combination of 3-jawed pullers and all kinds of stuff to get that monkey out of there. That's what I went through last time, and that'll be a task for tomorrow, so catch you then. The other reason I wanted to go inside is because it's getting ready to start pouring rain again. It's been raining off and on all day today, but I don't know how well that shows up. It's turning black out here. Especially that. It's getting ready to rain. I'm calling it quits for the night.